What's up YouTube, Tom from Tech Stops here coming your way, and today I'm doing a review of the Panasonic Lumix FH3. This one's an entry-level Lumix from Panasonic, comes in at under 250 bucks, has a 28mm wide lens, 5x optical zoom, 2.7 inch screen in the back, and so forth. This is a camera that you don't have to spend too much money on. You can throw in your pocket, take it around everywhere with you, and whenever you need to take a photo, you just pull it out, snap away. So you may have seen my unboxing video for this FH3. If you haven't, just below this video there's a link and it will take you to that unboxing video. I've also got the review and unboxing videos for the FT2 Tough Lumix camera and also TZ10. Check them out, but this is the FH3 review, so let's get into it. So the FH3 comes packed with features in a small body. If we go over the external features of the camera really quickly, up the top you have the on-off button, the zoom slider, the shutter button, and the scene mode, intelligent auto mode function button there. And you've also got a microphone and external speaker for when you're viewing your playback videos. On the right hand side, you've got a USB port to connect to your computer. No HDMI port on the FH3 to note, unlike the TZ10, so that's a little bit disappointing. Underneath the camera, you've got the SD card slot and the battery slot, similar to most or all Lumix cameras. And on the back you've got a 2.7 inch LCD screen with 230,000 dot resolution. The resolution isn't bad at this price point, but it's not a chart topper either. And you also have the controls on the back there. It's important to note that there's no dial switches for the FH3, with all scene selections are made via the scene button on the top. For me, this is actually a drawback, and I actually enjoy, or I prefer to slide the dials across and select the scene like most digital cameras have, but that actually adds to the bulk of the camera a little, so keep that in mind. In respect to features, the FH3 sports some great bang for its buck. For under 250 Australian dollars, you get a solid lens at 28mm wide and has a maximum aperture of 2.8, which is excellent. It does only have a 5x optical zoom, but what you lose on the zoom range, you gain in the fact that it's a super thin camera. Also important to note, you don't get a Leica branded lens with the FH3, unlike other Lumix cameras, but rather you get the Lumix DC Vario lens. In terms of construction, Panasonic did a good job on this camera. The FH3 feels good to hold. However, you notice that it's almost entirely made of plastic. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as it keeps the weight down of the camera, and I'm sure it contributes to the lower price point. For me, I like something a little bit more solid and similar to the Tough FT2 camera. But for general point and shoot enthusiasts, the build quality of the FH3 is fine. Moving on to functionality and performance, the FH3, just like the TZ10 and the FT2, is really easy to use. Its menu functions work well and are really intuitive. The software behind the FH3 really does lend itself to the core target market, being the user that doesn't want to think about taking the photos, and rather they just want to take the camera out of their pocket, push the shutter and get great images every time. Startup times on the FH3 were pretty good for an entry-level camera at under 2 seconds. In respect to continuous shooting, it pumps out one full resolution image every second, which is decent for its class, but it's not something you'd really rely on in a fast-moving environment or a sporting event and so forth. If we move on to image quality, the FH3 produces decent images. If you're after some happy snaps, then this camera will suit you just fine. Color saturation was good and it had decent detail in small prints. However, the FH3 does suffer from a jump in megapixels, with more megapixels on a small sensor not always resulting in improved image quality. The FH3 also suffers from some noise at high ISOs. That's to be expected given that it isn't a DSLR and it's a lower end of the price point. But it's something to keep in mind that if you're going to go take photos in dark environments and the ISO is cranked up, then it really will result in some noisy images at times. In terms of video, the FH3 shoots at 720p at 25 frames per second, unlike the TZ10, which has really good quality video output. The video quality of the FH3 was somewhat lackluster. I try to keep in mind that it is an entry-level camera, but at the end of the day, I really was disappointed with the video output, and accompanying this with the fact that the FH3 doesn't have an HDMI port, it really doesn't have a decent video capability. So this really is a point and shoot, and I really wouldn't use the video all that much. So in conclusion, guys, the Panasonic Lumix FH3 is a really good point and shoot camera. You have to keep in mind that it is an entry-level camera at $250 or about $220. You can pick it up in stores now. It is an affordable buy. It won't give you the best images in the world, but this camera isn't designed to actually give you images which you can blow up to huge prints and put on your wall. This camera is designed to keep in your pocket, take it around with you everywhere, and when you see an image you want to take, pull it out of your pocket, and at the flick of one or two buttons you capture the image. Doesn't give you a hell of a lot of functionality in terms of all different options and so forth like the TZ10 would, but you're not paying for that option either. So it really is a point and shoot at an entry level class. Great as a first digital camera or for someone that just wants to capture images and capture the moment. If you're looking at other Panasonic cameras, TZ10 and FT2 reviews are on my site, but let me know what you think of this camera by posting below, and if you like the video, give me the thumbs up just on the bottom left there. It's Tom from Tech Stops here. I'll catch you guys next time.